Everyone, good morning. Happy Tuesday. I hope you're having a great start to your week. I have a really fun project to show you today, and I'm going to show you how to sort of modify an embroidery design to turn it into an applique embroidery design. There are only certain designs you can kind of do this with or get away with it. So I'm going to be showing you that today. But before we get started, tax time is coming before we know it. It'll be here this weekend, right? And I'm seeing no comments, so I hope everyone is with me here. There we go. Hi, Sue. Thanks for joining. Hi, Kristen. All right, so we are catching up here. But tax day, I know. Not something super fun that we all want to talk about, but Sulky is putting a great sale on. It just started, and it's good until next Monday. It's our 1040 EZ sale. So you will find a lot of items at 40% off. So if tax day drawing near is getting you down, go ahead and head on over to sulky.com where you can find some really, really great deals. Kits, thread packs, all kinds of things are on sale. So when you head on over to sulky.com, you will see an image that looks similar to the one I just put on the screen. Just click on that and you'll find everything that is on sale for this great sale that Sulky is putting on. All right. Also, links in the chat to shop the 1040 Easy sale to make it really easy on you as well. So, how many out there have signed up for our favorite leggings videocast? Let me know, give me a thumbs up or put it in the chat and let us know if you are going to be joining us next Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time with Meg Healy. Meg is a superstar garment sewist. She has been with Berta Style for a long, long time. And Sew News, Creative Machine Embroidery, those great titles as well. Meg is a wonderful instructor. She brings a really great energy to the party. She is going to teach us all how to draft our own leggings pattern. So you'll want to start off with a pair of leggings that you already love, those super expensive leggings that if you're anything like me, you only have one of those and you've worn it down to nothing. If you happen to have a pair like that or any pair of leggings or kind of sleep pants that you absolutely love, we are going to learn how to copy that garment, make our own pattern that we can save for tons and tons of leggings just like it. She will show us all kinds of pattern modifications we can do to that base or core pattern to make different sorts of leggings, pants, shorts even. So tons of education. We've got video instruction showing you how to construct the leggings using either a sewing machine or a serger. So you will learn both methods. So if you don't have a serger, you can still construct the leggings using your regular sewing machine. And she's got tips and tricks for both methods as well. This is meant to be a 90-minute presentation next Tuesday on our sewing education platform, which is sewingonline.sulky.com. But I have a feeling it's going to go a little long because there's a lot to digest and a lot for Meg to teach us next Tuesday, 2 p.m. Eastern Time. It'll be a little bit after our So What next week. So we can meet here at our normal time, which is 12 p.m. Eastern, and then we will head on over to the sewing education or the Sulky education platform, sewingonline.sulky.com. You'll log in, head to the event page, and then that will take you to our viewing room to view the presentation in real time with Meg. She will have a multi-camera setup. We will see lots of video instruction. And all right, I'm seeing some spam in the comments. I apologize for that. We will take care of it as soon as possible. Lots of people saying I can't wait for the video cast. So fantastic. All right. Planning on joining for the legging session That is fantastic. Yeah, it's going to be really exciting. You know, Meg has joined us for a sewing session in the past. She did our DIY lounge wrap, and DIY stands for draft it yourself. So another long format session on our education platform where we learned how to draft our own sort of lounge robe / cardigan. You know, depending on the fabric that you chose, you could create a, you know, lounge comfy style wrap, or even like a robe using terry cloth, or even a sort of date night wrap. If you chose chiffon, or even a dupioni silk would be really pretty. So another garment that you can use for lots of different things. So that's kind of the whole point of next week's video cast, is you'll learn this pattern making method, and then you can create lots of leggings using different style lines and pockets, different kind of, you know, leg treatments like boot cut, or, you know, a tighter legging. So lots and lots of things to talk about. And I will let Meg discuss the rest next Tuesday, but be sure to register. Once you register, you will get the pattern drafting booklet absolutely free. It has a $9.99 value, and the video cast is only $5.99. So you will get the booklet that explains how to draft your entire pattern, and even construction tips and setting up your serger, how to use cover stitch if you happen to have those capabilities on your serger, or if you have a cover stitch machine. So lots and lots. Okay. Also, once you register for the video cast, be sure to, this is Meg in a cute machine embroidered version of our tie-dye leggings kit. She will also talk about machine embroidery on super, super stretchy fabrics, such as these leggings, which are made out of a poly spandex, a brushed poly spandex. All right, so it's that really buttery, nice knit fabric that doesn't have show through when you wear it. It's a really great weight. You know, they're perfect for any season, winter, spring, summer, or fall. So here is our sewing machine kit that we have available. This one, I believe, is on sale for $21.99, I want to say. Don't hold me to that if I misspoke, but I'm going to pull it up and make absolutely sure I'm getting the right price. So these are already on sale. The kits will be on sale until midnight next Tuesday after the video cast. So let's see. I just want to make sure I'm telling you the right price. Yes, $21.99 for the sewing machine kit. You will get 2 yards of that really great poly spandex fabric from So English. And let's see, we've got the tie-dye colorway, which you can see in that gray, pink, and lavender. And then we have the galaxy colorway, which is that great black print with a little bit of purple in it, and the galaxy print, really cool and on trend right now. You will also get 1 spool of Sulky poly deco thread, as well as a pack of super stretch needles. These are the ballpoint needles that you need to sew this fabric with, so that the ball point kind of pushes those knit fabrics aside, making way for the thread without stretching or puckering. If you use a universal needle, which has a slight ball point, or something like a top stitch needle, that needle will actually pierce the fabric fibers, creating a hole for, you know, the thread to fit in. And we don't want to create holes in our knit fabric. We want the knit fabrics to kind of be pushed aside by that ballpoint needle. So that's why you need this super stretch needle when you are sewing these types of super stretchy fabrics. Now we also have a serger kit. So if you would rather create your leggings using a serger, you will get 4 threads, 4 king spools of the Sulky poly deco thread, so that you can thread your 2 needles and your 2 loopers with the same thread. And then you will get a pack of serger needles, because yes, you do need to swap out your serger needles as frequently as you swap out your sewing machine needles. And if you don't use your serger very often, If you only use it for, let's say, finishing seams or when you are sewing a garment, you also need to think about swapping out those two serger needles and starting fresh with a nice new needle for every project that you do. So you will get a fresh pack of organ serger needles as well as those 4 threads. So the 2 yards that come with the kit is enough to make up to about a size 22 leggings. Now, this is going to depend on the leggings that you are copying. So, for example, in Meg's demo, she is going to show you how to copy her favorite leggings pattern. It might look a little bit different than the leggings that you're copying. For example, her leggings have a crossover waistband treatment, the one that she's copying, and that looks really cool and it's very figure flattering. But the leggings that I have chosen to copy have just a fold over waistband treatment. So depending on your waistband, depending on if you want to add pockets, if you want to have a wider leg on your leggings, you might need a little bit more fabric. And for those instances, we have stocked a very, very limited amount of 1 yard cuts of the same fabrics. Or you could also just kind of mix and match and get like a solid black fabric if you've chosen the Galaxy kit, or a solid gray fabric if you have chosen the tie-dye kit. And you could use that extra fabric for a wider waistband treatment or, you know, a wide leg, or to add your pockets, right? So it's entirely up to you, but I feel like you will have enough fabric to do those things if you are up to a size 22. So keep those things in mind when you're choosing your kit. If you want to grab some extra fabric, like I said, there's a limited supply of those 1 yard cuts available at sulky.com. So I like the crossover to cover up a tummy area. Same, I know. So if you want to do that crossover waistband treatment, she's also going to show you what that looks like if you want to draft that type of pattern and your leggings don't kind of come with a crossover waistband that you're going to copy. So you will get kind of a sneak peek on how to draft that. She isn't going to go into super detail about that because we have so much to cover during the event, but that's why you got your pattern drafting booklet when you register for the leggings course. And that will give you a little bit more detail if you want to, employ some of those looks in your leggings. All right. Let's see. So let's get to today's project. Well, let me first see if I have any questions about... Okay, my overlock uses regular sewing machine needles. Will the serger needles work on my machine? So the serger needles that are included with the kit are called EL705 needles. EL705 SUK needles. They do specifically say for use in a serger or overlock machine. So if you would like to learn a little bit more about those needles, you can research them at sulky.com. EL705 SUK needles. You can also contact your sewing machine manufacturer. A lot of the times on their website, you can find a contact us or even a live chat and just say, are these going to work with my machine? And hopefully they get back to you. And then just give us a call on our 800 number. Or you can always also grab the sewing machine kit and then add the 3 thread spools that you will need in addition to the one that comes with the sewing machine. And then you will have, the sewing machine version with those extra spools for your serger. So hopefully that makes sense and hopefully that works out for you. All right. All right, Deb says, I got my leggings to copy, got my jersey needles, got my practice fabric. Good to go. All right. Just want to make sure, if you like to have your kit on hand for the session, You probably need to grab that up today to make sure you have it in time for next week. Make sure you're choosing the correct shipping method when you check out at sulky.com to make sure you're going to get it in time. Now, this isn't really meant as a start to finish sew along, but rather, watch, digest all the information, and then once the live event ends and you start working your way through your kit and working your way through your pattern drafting, you can go back and rewatch the event and pause, rewind, fast forward, all of those good things to get to the parts that you need to review while you're working your way through the leggings. So that's the great thing about our live events is after it ends, it becomes on demand and you can still access it through your personal library at sewingonline.sulky.com. And, if your kit doesn't come in time, it's totally fine because, like I said, it's not really meant as a start to finish sew along. We could never really sew our leggings in that 90 minutes plus the pattern drafting, right? We need a little bit more time for that. So just know if your kit doesn't arrive in time, that's perfectly fine. But if you do like to have it on hand so that you can kind of review and have everything set up during the live event, I highly suggest grabbing that up today just to make sure, you have a week for the shipment to arrive. And who knows, with the postage being what it is and, who knows when it's going to arrive. But we have a little way of kind of making sure if you want to expedite your shipment, you can select that option at checkout just to be sure. All right. Are we able to make the top for the leggings? So the top that Meg is wearing in, I'm not really sure if it's in the image that I showed or not. That's a different top, but I know the top you're talking about, and she made a top for her Galaxy leggings, and that is what is featured on the pattern drafting booklet. So if you have enough fabric left over from your leggings, or if you made a shorts version of your leggings, you could use her pattern drafting technique and also copy a top. But you probably need some extra fabric, and you might need to grab up one of those 1 yard cuts or 2 of those 1 yard cuts. They are pre-cut in 1 yard increments, those extra yards that we have at sulky.com. So keep that in mind. Yeah. So all that being said, I'm not positive, depending on your size, depending on a lot of factors, depending on the leggings you choose to create, I'm not positive if you would have enough left over to make a top. You probably need some extra fabric, but again, you will learn this great pattern drafting method that you can apply to other garments. So, I hope that's a good answer. Okay. And yes, Don says, after you make one pair, it will be easier to make the next pair. And that's what I love about drafting our own pattern that fits our body perfectly, right? Then we have this base pattern we can use to make our favorite leggings again and again and again. So, fantastic. Will we need pattern drafting interfacing? So, you can draft your pattern onto butcher paper. If you happen to even have newsprint, who out there still gets the paper? You could draft it onto pattern drafting paper or pattern drafting interfacing so that you have a nice preserved pattern to use again and again. You could even tape together larger sheets of paper, but yes, you will need some kind of pattern drafting paper medium to, copy your existing leggings pattern onto. So good point. All right. Will we be able to use this video to copy other ready-to-wear items also? So yes, this will definitely be tailored to the leggings. So there are certain parts of the leggings that Meg kind of focuses on, specifically the waistband, the crotch area, because, sometimes your leggings will have a gusset for the crotch area. So she does kind of focus on that, which is really nice. So in my opinion, you will be able to take this pattern drafting method and apply it to other garments. So that being said, I will give that a loose yes answer. Okay. Oh, Sharon, thank you. Yes, tissue paper is also a great idea to copy your patterns. And my grandmother used newspaper to draft clothes from a favorite garment. Mine did too. And a lot of the times you would get that newsprint all over your hands as well. So keep that in mind. You could wear some of your, leftover COVID gloves or just, wash your hands afterwards and make sure it doesn't transfer to your pretty fabric as well. So just keep that in mind. Newsprint is kind of, persnickety like that. All right, so let's get to the project at hand today, which is another project that I created using our new Uncle Sam machine embroidery palette. So this is the project that we did last week, which is our Uncle Sam table runner. And today I have chosen to feature our Summer Nights embroidery design. It's brand new at sulky.com. And actually last week, our fun door prize for So What was the Uncle Sam machine embroidery collection, valued at $34.99. That includes all 6 designs featured in the Uncle Sam collection in 3 sizes. And no one has claimed the prize. So I reached out to the winner and I'm still waiting to hear back. Anyway, today I'm going to give away the entire machine embroidery palette. Now, the palette comes with 11 spools of Sulky thread. You will get a mixture of Sulky rayon thread as well as Sulky poly sparkle thread. So, I really think that our patriotic holidays that start with Memorial Day and kind of span till July 4th, I think there's no better time to use Sulky metallic thread. And this palette features our great poly sparkle thread, which is, it sews just like a polyester thread, but it has flecks of metallic running through it. So you don't have to take into account all the machine adjustments that we normally have to do for Sulky original metallic, Sulky hollow shimmer, and Sulky sliver threads. Those last 2 threads, hollow shimmer and sliver, are flat metallic threads. So we have to do some machine adjustments so that they don't twist on their way to the needle for the sew out. But poly sparkle thread, it is a 30 weight thread, so it's a little bit thicker than the 40 weight rayon that's included in the palette. But like I said, it sews just like our poly deco thread or a standard polyester thread. So it's really great to sew, really great for machine embroidery, and it gives sort of a more subtle sparkle because since it only has those flecks of metallic running through it, you get a little more subtle sparkly embellishment than you would if you were using, let's say, the hollow shimmer or the original metallic. So this includes 11 spools of thread, and with purchase of the palette, you get all 6 designs in those 3 sizes included with your purchase of the palette. So this is valued at $49.99. And so one lucky viewer who is watching now, liking, sharing the post, otherwise engaging, giving me those great emojis, you will be automatically eligible to win the Uncle Sam palette. So as you can see, the Summer Nights design is the design in the center on the top row of this image I'm showing you. It is a mason jar that is like full of cute little fireflies and has a red, white, and blue, or red and blue rather, bow on it. So let me show you that a little bit closer up here. Oh, here are all the threads that you get with that great machine embroidery palette. So you get your blues, your reds, your golds, your silver, those great poly sparkles, and a spool of black rayon thread. And here is that really cute Summer Nights design. So The little bodies of the fireflies featured in this design are stitched out using that gold poly sparkle. So you get a cute little sparkly glow on your fireflies. It would be really fun to substitute that color with a Sulky glowy, in fact. So that would be another modification you could do to the design. Also, the mason jar outline is done in the silver poly sparkle. So it gives a little other touch of metallic to the design. And then you can see that ribbon is stitched out in a couple of red shades and a couple of blue shades of Sulky rayon. So again, this comes in 3 sizes. When you purchase the design, you will get all 3 sizes. You get a size for a 4x4 hoop, a 5x7 hoop, and a 9x10 hoop. The design that I did on the pillow I'm going to show you today is the 9x10 design. So I chose the super, super large design size for today's project, but you can choose the size that corresponds to either the pillow size you want to create or your largest hoop parameter that you have available on your machine. If you go a little bit smaller with your design and you choose the 5x7, let's say, you can just compensate with some extra fabric strips around your center embroidered square or rectangle for the pillow. So the method and the sort of recipe for this pillow project that I'm going to show you today, you can use that method and then apply it to the sizes that you're going to embroider or the size of pillow form that you have on hand. So we're really just, learning a method today. All of the dimensions, tutorial, everything is on the Sulky blog at blog.sulky.com. I think I forgot to link to the actual blog post in the description of today's post, but we will put it in the chat. So you don't need to write down any dimensions or anything that I'm going to tell you today. You can head on over to the blog after we are done chatting this afternoon and get all of the directions if you want to make the exact pillow that I did. The entire supply list is listed there, as well as, the dimensions and yardages of fabric that you need to create this particular pillow. I also think for some reason, patriotic projects scream like denim to me for some reason. I think denim looks really great with red, white, and blue. So you could also kind of repurpose if you have a little bit of a worn sort of denim shirt or even jeans. You can salvage the fabrics from those and kind of piece them together. But I did this design on a dark wash denim. And in hindsight, I would have gone a little bit lighter with my denim color because it's a little difficult to see the black portions of the little fireflies. But when you're looking at the pillow, you can really see them. It's just really difficult to see them on camera and in photography. So the other thing about this design is it is not an applique design. It is not meant for applique. It is meant to just sew out in a regular fashion on your embroidery machine. So I modified the design and modified the stitch out so that I could do this cute little vinyl applique on my jar. And it really makes the design come to life. I think it's a really cute addition to the design, and the stitch out, if you stop it at the right place, allows you to trim your vinyl just like you would in the hoop applique and then finish it with satin stitches. However, the way that the decorative ribbon is digitized, there's no way to really stop it and trim and get a clean edge with your satin stitching. So you end up with a little bit of frayed edge along your ribbon portion because the whole thing is stitched out in satin stitches to begin with. There's no straight stitch where you could stop your machine and then trim your fabric and then finish it with the satin edges. But I think that gives it kind of a cool little, farmhouse or just kind of rustic appearance, and I actually like how it turned out. So if you don't like that raw edge, you can just sew out your Summer Nights design as intended without these applique portions, and you'd still have a very, very cute pillow. But I'm going to show you what I did to modify this and allow for those applique fabrics within the design. So here is my finished pillow on a cute little Adirondack chair. I am so ready to get out there and sit in my chair and enjoy the sunshine. All right. Elaine says it's sort of raw edge applique. Precisely. So the vinyl we are going to be able to finish in traditional applique with the satin stitch. And then the fabric ribbon is going to be finished like a raw edge applique. But we're going to do it all in the hoop of our embroidery machine. All right. So to begin, we are going to hoop our denim fabric. Again, this looks a lot darker than it actually is. It's more of a dark navy, denim color. But in any rate, go ahead and hoop up your denim fabric for the front embroidered rectangle for your pillow. And I know somebody's going to ask me, what does the pillow measure? And again, I have all of that information in the blog post, but I'll give you an estimate. I think it's about, I think I used a 14-inch pillow form for this. So correct me if I'm wrong, if you've already head over to the blog. Like I said, it's all there. But I think I used a 14-inch pillow form. I don't know that they often go smaller than that, but maybe it's a 12-inch. Sorry, it's around 12 to 14 inches. Good size pillow. All right, so I'm going to use Sulky Stiffy Stabilizer for this because my denim is heavy weight, and I want the stabilizer to be of a similar weight to the fabric that I am embroidering. The Stiffy Stabilizer is a heavier weight tearaway stabilizer, but I'm actually going to leave it totally intact after the stitch out is complete and use it as kind of an interfacing for that center focal point rectangle on my pillow. So you can certainly tear it away beyond your design perimeter once your embroidery is complete, but I really like the additional stabilizer that's going to make my pillow look nice over time. There won't be any sagging or, sagging beyond the embroidery once it is complete, because the addition of that vinyl is adding a sort of like thread count, if you will, to that fabric. And I don't want the denim around that vinyl to kind of sag down over time, when your pillow is kind of propped up on your cute little chair. All right, so we're going to use the Stiffy with the denim and go ahead and hoop that up. And here is the first thing we need to do to modify the design. And I do want to mention I did all of this on the machine screen. I did not use a software program to modify the design at all or modify the color sequence. This design, as all Sulky designs, comes with a color sequence chart. It's really important to look at that PDF during your embroidery process to make sure that the colors that are intended for the design are matching the colors that come up on your machine screen. Sometimes, especially if you use software, those things don't translate as well as we would like, despite our very thorough testing process. So you want to refer to that color sequence chart to make sure that you're using the correct color in the correct spaces, as it was intended. It's also important when you're modifying the design to refer to that so that you can kind of make notes for things you're going to stop or change or colors you're going to, eliminate or change as you work your way through the design. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is actually skip the first color stop, because the first color stop in this design are those silvery poly sparkle outline stitches that create the mason jar. But since we are adding vinyl over the top of our fireflies, we are going to skip ahead and embroider the fireflies first. So we are going to go to color stop 2 and embroider that, which is part of the fireflies. Then we're going to go to color stop 3, which is the black thread, which is the body of the fireflies. So after we do steps 2 and 3, then we are going to, here's step 2. And like I said, that is stitched out with the really cool gold poly sparkle thread. Oh, whoops. I got ahead of myself. So after the gold poly sparkle, like I said, we're going to go to color stop 3, which is the black portions of the fireflies. And then we are going to do our, let's see, our vinyl. Okay, good. I'm getting a little confused about my own photos. Okay, so after this firefly, I think this one might be out of order, but, oh no. So after the, I'm sorry, everyone, bear with me. Let's take a deep breath. Okay, after the firefly is sewn, we're going to go back to number 1, which is the mason jar outline. As you can see on my screen, it had already advanced to color stop 4, which is why I got confused. That blue area of the ribbon. So when you get to the blue area of the ribbon, color stop 4, you're going to actually go back to color stop 1 instead. And now it is time to place our vinyl for the applique. And we're going to do it before any of the mason jar stitching has even happened. So what I did was, and you might have this function on your machine, where you can tell the machine, you can actually start at the first stitch of color stop 1. Your needle will go to that location where it's going to start sewing. Then you can kind of advance through the stitches to kind of see the stitching path of your machine without sewing it out. All right, so once you do that, you will get an idea for where the mason jar is going to sew, and you can place your vinyl so that it covers that entire stitching area. And you'll want to use some kind of embroidery tape or washi tape, or what I like to use are strips of Sulky sticky Fabri-Solvi. Sticky Fabri-Solvi is a water-soluble stabilizer that just washes away once your embroidery is complete. So if you forget to remove your tape during embroidery and it gets caught under some stitching or becomes difficult to remove because it goes behind your fabric applique or something like that, it will just wash away when embroidery is complete. I used it for this because I had some already cut into strips that I had on hand. So I taped my vinyl along the top and bottom areas, making sure it was nice and flat in the hoop. And I used, I believe, a 16 gauge vinyl, but quite honestly, you could go a little bit lighter weight than that. And it's not going to matter too much. You just want kind of a, medium to lightweight kind of vinyl. All right, so we're placing that over the top of our embroidered fireflies and making sure that our stitching is going to, our vinyl is going to be caught in all of the stitches for the mason jar. So you can see I kind of taped the top using that sticky Fabri-Solvi. Again, you could use masking tape, washi tape, embroidery tape, something to make sure your vinyl is going to stay nice and flat. I also taped it along that lower edge. And then you begin color stop 1. But we are going to need to stop the stitch out at a certain point so that we can trim away the vinyl beyond the straight stitching of the mason jar. And then we are going to resume that color stop once we've trimmed that up, to add the satin stitch edging. So I thought it would be best to show you all a video of sort of a stitch out simulation so you can see when to stop your machine to account for cutting away or trimming away the vinyl, beyond the stitching for the applique portion. Now, if you're familiar within the hoop applique, you probably know what I'm talking about when I say you need to trim away that vinyl edging. And the reason I didn't give you a specific stitch number to stop the machine is because you might be using the 4x4 design, you might be using the 5x7, or you might be using the 9x10 like I did. And in each case, it's going to be a different stitch number to stop your machine at. So I wanted to show you this little video. It's about a minute long that just shows you when to stop your machine so that we can trim away that vinyl. So I will go ahead and show you that video and we'll address some of the questions afterwards. So here we go. Okay, so some of you have been asking, can I watch this video again? And you most certainly can. And you can review that video in the blog post as well. I embedded it into the blog post so you can watch that video and see where to stop your machine. So when you go back to color stop 1, you need to have your hand near the stop button on your machine so that you can stop it at the right place. And you can see that this design kind of lends itself to modifying for this applique version because it first stitches those straight stitches around the mason jar, and it allows you to have a stopping point before those satin stitches get sewn. So that's why I thought, hey, you know what? I could put a piece of vinyl on here and give this a really cool look. So that's what I did. You can see that it also sews some of the detailing, right? So the inner details are going to be sewn, especially up here. And it tacks down the vinyl so that you can trim it away and finish those edges. So let me see if I can get back to the right place in my photos here for you. Because when I launch a video, everything kind of gets out of order for me. So bear with me just a moment and I can figure out where we are. Okay, so this is when we went back to color stop 1, and then you're going to stop your machine. Oh, and do your applique. Okay, so let me just make sure. There we go. Here's where I stopped the machine after tacking down the vinyl and stitching those outer stitches and a little bit of the detailing along the top. So now you need to remove your hoop from your machine or, use a function that allows you to trim your applique fabric. You can see along the right side that we don't have stitches showing us where to trim. But we know that this fabric ribbon is going to be covering a lot of that area. So we don't have to be super exact, but you don't want to trim your vinyl, going into the jar. You can just kind of eyeball and trim it up so that it curves and kind of meets the top of the jar. And that part of your vinyl is going to be covered by your fabric ribbon applique that we're going to sort of hack onto this design. So we want to trim using these duckbill applique scissors. I linked to a really great pair that we have at sulky.com. They're a Ginger pair. Absolutely love them. They stay sharp forever, it seems. But that duckbill allows you to get really close to that outer stitching line so that you can trim your applique really, really close to that stitching without piercing through the stitches. All right, so you want to get as close as you can because, like I said, this design is not digitized or meant for this applique hack that we're doing. So the satin stitching is not as wide as maybe it normally would be when you're doing an in the hoop applique that's actually digitized for applique. So since we're kind of hacking it, we need to get super close so that our satin stitches will cover that vinyl edge. So here you can see I'm cutting real close to that vinyl, making sure to not nick the fabric underneath, making sure to not trim too close into those straight stitches on the design. And isn't that poly sparkle thread just so cool? I mean, love it. All right. So here I have it trimmed up, and you can see along that upper right edge where we didn't have a stitching line to guide us where to cut, I just kind of curved the vinyl up and over so that it met along the top. So, you know, just give yourself ample room, and then you will kind of know once you start placing your fabric for the ribbon applique, you'll know if you need to kind of trim away a little bit more of the vinyl underneath. But, you know, just give yourself generous room around that upper right firefly and up towards the mason jar upper edge. There you can see it a little bit better how I just kind of curved it along over. So then you're going to put your hoop back onto the machine, and you're going to continue the design right where you left off. And that stitching is going to secure your vinyl edge and, you know, finish off the edge so that it's not raw edge anymore. It has that satin stitch edging to it. And then once you do that, you're going to remember to skip those firefly stitches because you already sewed those. And then we're going to go to the ribbon stitching. Now the ribbon stitching is steps 4 through the end of the design. And the ribbon colors intended for the design are 2 or 3 blue threads and I think 2 of the red rayon threads. But I wanted to bring even more poly sparkle into the party. So I actually decided to stitch my ribbon outline using just 1 of the red poly sparkle threads included in the thread palette. So I went rogue and did my own thing, but you certainly could stitch out all of the patriotic colors for your ribbon. And honestly, in hindsight, I kind of wish I had gone with a more subtle fabric for my applique, because you see how it's really difficult to see, especially on video, it's difficult to see the detailing in the ribbon because it matches my applique fabric so perfectly. So a little bit more contrast probably would have been better in hindsight, but I do like the sparkliness of that poly sparkle thread, and it works great in the ribbon. Even though the ribbon portion was designed for 40 weight rayon, the 30 weight poly sparkle worked just great for that portion of the design. And I will show you another version of the mason jar that I did that shows all of those great blue colors as well. All right, so here you could see that is the next thread color, which is the blue portion of the ribbon design. So I just kind of kept advancing. Oh, that's what I wanted to say too, is now you could see the upper edge of the design, and you can advance your needle position to see where that upper edge is going to hit. And that's a really good indication of where you need to position your applique fabric, because again, this is not digitized for applique. All right, so we have to kind of eyeball where to put our fabric. And it's a good idea to just use a larger piece of fabric than you think you need, just to make sure that your stitches are going to cover it. And again, these are all satin stitches already, so we're going to have raw edges beyond those stitches. So you want to account for that too and make sure you have enough fabric, in place for these appliques. So before you do this color stop, you need to place your fabric over the fabric in the hoop. So I used some KK2000, and you can see my fabric piece is much larger than I probably need it to be. It's almost covering the entire hoop, but I really just wanted that extra assurance that my fabric was going to be, my stitches were going to entirely cover the fabric. So this goes over that right edge of the mason jar, and you can use any fabric you have on hand. Dive into your stash, find those reds, whites, blues, or even go with a different color entirely to match, your patio furniture or something. And then you can just swap out your thread color for something that kind of coordinates with your existing outdoor decor. So secure that fabric with a little bit of KK2000, or you can use your Sulky sticky Fabri-Solvi strips, again, to tape that down. But I really love to use the KK2000 because it ensures that my fabric isn't going to shift at all during the applique process. All right. Oh, and here I am showing that I used that red poly sparkle for the entire ribbon stitching. So I went totally against the color sequence chart, but this red is included in that thread palette. So it's just another option for you if you want to do the same thing. So there is my ribbon all sewn out. And now I'm going to use those applique scissors again to cut my fabric around those satin stitches. So now it becomes really important to not accidentally nick those stitches when you're trimming the applique, because this is your final satin stitch. The only thing you could do if you accidentally nicked those would be to put your hoop back onto the machine and find that area that you nicked and kind of sew over it again, starting and stopping manually to kind of recover from that mistake. And, hey, happens to the best of us, right? So at any rate, you can get as close as you can to those stitches without nicking through them, or you can leave a little bit wider border and really kind of go with that raw edge applique look, and even encourage your fabric fibers to kind of fray along the outside edge, just as another kind of rustic embellishment for your pillow. So speaking of fraying, I found it really beneficial to use a lint roller after I trimmed up my applique fabric. There were just a lot of little fabric edges, and it's really great idea to use your lint roller while your fabric is still in the hoop, because it's still nice and taut for you. And I could get all those little stray fibers and clean everything up before I go construct the pillow. All right, so now we're going to take our denim fabric out of the hoop, and I just gave it a little press around the outside edge just to remove any kind of hoop markings that you might have during the embroidery process. But be sure, extra sure, to keep your iron away from that vinyl. You don't want any of your pretty work to melt at all, leaving a gunky mess on your project and your iron. So just be sure to keep your iron well away from the vinyl at this point. All right, and there we have our finished stitch out. Again, just some things in hindsight here. I would have gone with a little bit lighter colored denim so that those fireflies really pop. I probably would have gone with a different fabric for my applique so that I had a better contrast for that great poly sparkle thread to be really showcased. It looks a lot more pronounced in person than it does in this photo, so I can really see the detailing of that ribbon. But again, just some things I would have done a little bit differently for, quite possibly a pillow pair, if I was going to make another pillow. So now it's time to piece together the pillow front and to add some fun trim. So a lot of the times, I don't know about you, but when I go to the fabric store, I'm so focused on the fabrics that I need, I never really think about the trims section. The fun ruffled trim and the fun fringe trim and all of those great, things and good finds that are over in that area of the store. So just, the next time you're grabbing up some fabric yardage, just take a little walk down the trims area and you might be inspired, pillows, home decor, even curtains, even, edges of areas of bags where you're piecing two things together or adding a pocket seam or something. Those are really great areas to insert fun trim. Just like on our table runner from last week, I added some fun rickrack. Summer projects, patriotic things with lots of sparkle and embellishment. Let's just gild the lily and add some fun trims. So that's kind of what I thought about this pillow as well. And I really think that this fun gingham ruffled trim just really makes it, it really kind of takes the pillow up a notch. So I'm really happy with the way that turned out. All right, so first we need to do the piecing. So we're adding fabric border around that, focal point embroidered rectangle. First, of course, you will need to trim up your rectangle according to the pillow form that you're going to use, or you can use the dimensions that are in the blog post if you want to create this exact pillow. So I have a little bit wider edge along the outer edges and a little bit narrower edge along the top. And that is simply because our mason jar is rectangular and I, wanted it to, fit our pillow form nicely. And I always feel like the side edges kind of roll towards the back more so than the top and bottom. So it ends up looking really balanced actually to have a little bit wider fabric strip along those outer, along the side edges. So you're going to piece those together so you have kind of a picture frame around your embroidery. And then I'm just going to top stitch that ruffled trim along those two side edges. You can use as much or as little trim as you want. You can put your trim along the upper and lower edge seams if you desire. It's totally up to you and up to the trim that you find. If you find maybe a fringy trim or you want to insert rickrack into the seam instead, just plan for that and go ahead and baste that trim in place before you do those side piecing. And then your trim will be encased in that those side rectangle seams. But I really wanted to just top stitch this trim because as you can see, it has ruffled edges on both sides and I wanted those to kind of pop. So first you're going to place your trim and pin it in place or use wonder clips along the upper and lower edge just so it's in the right spot for sewing. And then I just top stitched right down the center of the trim. And actually this trim has two sort of existing stitching lines down the center of the trim. So I did 2 rows of top stitching and I just followed the existing stitching lines that were on the trim. But depending on the trim that you find, you can just sew right down the center. Just flatten out those ruffles if you have a ruffly or frilly trim as you sew. And then once your trim is attached, you're simply going to put your pillow backing piece over the front with right sides together and then pin or use wonder clips around the entire perimeter. And then you want to leave an opening for turning your pillow right side out. And I did my opening along one of the sides. You can do the lower edge if you prefer, something, inconspicuous. And at the corners, I wanted to show you this. Forgive my untrimmed thread ends, but at the corners, I like to taper the edges. And this kind of eliminates those dog ear points that you can get on homemade pillows. And it just kind of gives it a professional look, a professional finish. So what I did was I angled in my seam at the corner quite a bit. I would say at least 3/4 of an inch from the existing corner. So in order to kind of measure it, I first just sew the straight corner. Then I take my ruler and I taper in those sides. And quite honestly, for the most part, I eyeball it. I know that there's like a formula you could probably do, but I don't get too crazy with it. And I just taper in those corners. You could see quite a bit. And it's actually going to look like your pillow almost has rounded edges. But then when you turn it right side out, all of a sudden you have a perfect corner. It is bizarre and it works. So I taper in all of those corners and then I trim really good close to the corner seam before turning right side out. And then we have our pillow turned right side out and we've got an opening along one of the long edges so that we can insert our pillow form. So you need a pretty good size opening when you're working with a pillow form, or you can just use fiber fill and stuff this puppy until it's plump to your liking. And then you can see we've got our opening we need to close. And I simply just fold in all of those edges to the wrong side and I use lots and lots of Wonder Clips so that it's, perfectly straight along that folded edge. And then I just use a ladder stitch or a slip stitch, some invisible stitch, and I sew up that entire side. Now, if you want to insert a zipper or do Velcro closure, whatever you want to do, if you want to be able to reuse your pillow form for other occasions, by all means, do the pillow closure method that works for you. You could also do an envelope closure and along the back of your pillow, create 2 rectangles with hemmed edges and at least about a 3-inch overlap. And then you can insert your pillow form through the envelope closure on the back and you don't have anything to hand sew. And then you can reuse your pillow form again and again and again. All right. So just like that, our pillow is completed. And there it is on a sunny day on my back porch. And here is a little bit of a side view so you can see the pretty piecing and the dimensions you get from the ruffles and the kind of reflective element that you get with the vinyl. I think it's just a really great finishing touch for this jar. It really makes this jar come to life. So I'm so glad that I was able to modify the design simply by stopping and starting my machine in the right spots. So you can't do this method with a ton of embroidery designs, but while I was testing this design, I just thought, oh my gosh, the way that the stitching path goes, that the digitizer set up, it really makes it possible for us to do some kind of applique. So just keep that in mind when you're looking at outline designs. This particular one just works really, really well for this kind of in the hoop applique hack, we'll call it. So again, you could definitely just sew out this design as intended without these applique pieces, and it would be super, super cute. Another modification would be to substitute Sulky glowy thread, the yellow glowy thread, for the poly sparkle gold in the little fireflies. And then those little firefly butts would glow at night. So when you're enjoying your porch pillow, that would just be another really, really cute modification you could do. All right, I'm going to go ahead and address some of the questions here if we have any. Lots of people saying that it looks great. Have to try the poly sparkle and the corner hack for the pillows. I guess that's not really a hack. Catherine says, I definitely have to try your technique for the pillow corners. yeah, if you make a lot of your own pillows and you notice that, you get those, what I call little dog ears, that is really a way to correct that. And it's really interesting how you think it's going to look like this rounded pillow, and it ends up looking perfectly square. So there's some kind of rhyme or reason about that, but it works. Jean says, like your corner idea. So, and thanks for the tapered corner tip. I have too many dog pillows, literally. Oh. All right. Will you show the pillow outside corners? So this is what they end up looking. They end up looking, like a square corner, but they're tapered in on the inside. And another thing you can do is, since I used a pillow form, the corners aren't as full, right? So what you can do after you insert your pillow form is take just a little bit of fiber fill and just kind of stuff your corners. You can fill out any of the side areas. If your dimensions are a little off or you're eyeballing your pillow form, that type of thing, and you just want a little bit more fullness, don't be afraid to go in there with little pockets of fiber fill and just kind of, round out or fill out your pillow along the side seams or maybe along your opening. That definitely does wonders. Oh, so I'm glad I just picked up the pillow because I wanted to show you my kind of first attempt, my trial version for seeing if this applique was going to work. I did the 5x7 design, and here it is. Instead of sewing the little fireflies, I inserted some little sequins into the jar. So this would be kind of cute if you wanted to do maybe a happy birthday something. You could switch up the fabric that you use for the ribbon applique to a more kind of birthday thing, and then put some sequins or some beads or something in there to kind of look like sprinkles. That would be really cute, like it's a little baker's jar or something. So you can eliminate the firefly steps if you really want to and put anything you want to in that little vinyl pocket because, excuse me, because remember, this area that's underneath the fabric ribbon is open. There's no stitching until you add that fabric applique. So it's kind of like an open pocket. You can put anything you want to in the little vinyl area or vinyl pocket into your mason jar before you do your fabric ribbon. Just make sure that you push your little embellishments out of the way of your applique so that your needle doesn't hit them during that part of the stitch out. But that's just another idea. You could even add some sparkly glitter in with your fireflies if you want. So just another idea for inserting something into that vinyl area that I thought was really cute. Okay. Joy says, thank you for the advice about the fiber fill corners. Why didn't I think of that? That's why we're here, right? Is to share the tips and tricks that have worked for us. Do they move around if you shake it? Let's do it. They kind of do. Whoops. I guess you'd have to kind of nudge them along a little bit more because the vinyl is kind of, well, they moved a little bit, right? It can be kind of like a little fidget toy because if you use your hand, you can kind of move them around. So I imagine if you added more and your vinyl kind of raised up from the backing fabric a little bit more because you put more stuff in it, they would move around a little bit more. All right. Denise says, I love the sequin idea. You could cut out little fruit prints from fabric too. That would be cute. Or find little shaped buttons, the little tiny little shaped buttons, and put those in there. That would be cute. All right. Cute idea. You are so creative. Thank you. Jar of buttons or bows or freestanding lace bows. So really, really great ideas. Yes, I want to see everyone's take on the mason jar vinyl applique hack, please, because these are such great ideas and ways to take this one design, use it for patriotic holidays, birthdays, all kinds of ideas. Making a button jar and putting this, making this into a wall hanging for your sewing room. That is such a cute, cute idea. So really great ways to make this your own. All right, Sharon says, if you wipe vinyl with dryer sheets, it will cut out static and the sequins will move more. Thank you, Sharon. I would have never known that. Very great idea. Using confetti inside. Exactly. And yes, Denise, jar of buttons would look good in a sewing room. Fabric Easter eggs, all kinds of great ideas. Thank you, everyone, for chiming in. So if you want the full tutorial for these really cute porch pillows, head on over to blog.sulky.com and you can get the entire tutorial, supply list, everything that you need, dimensions for cutting and yardages to purchase and all kinds of stuff. Be sure to grab up this machine embroidery palette. Again, this is Uncle Sam. It includes all 6 designs shown here in 3 sizes. And if you grab up the palette, you also get 11 spools of sulky thread that coordinate with the designs, including those great poly sparkle threads. So be sure to grab that up. And this is our door prize for Sew What today. So one lucky viewer who is watching, engaging with the post, giving me those great comments and emojis, one lucky viewer will win this thread palette that includes all these designs, valued at $49.99. You can also just grab up the Summer Nights design. It is available as an individual design download as well. If you would like to grab that and start stitching right after we end today, that will be automatically delivered to your Sulky account upon purchase. So grab that up, grab your porch pillows tutorials, and please don't forget to join us next week for our favorite leggings video cast with Meg Healy. Again, if you have not registered, you have about a week to do so because we will be going live with Meg next week at 2 p.m. Eastern Time on our Sulky Education website, which is sewingonline.sulky.com. That is where we have all of our events, our webcasts, videocasts, our webinars. All of our events live there. So if you've missed one in the past and you would like to view it, you can head on over there and register for anything that is in the education offerings page. And you can watch it on demand at your leisure at any time. If you can't join us live next week, be sure to register anyway, get your leggings pattern drafting booklet, and you can watch on demand anytime once the live event ends. All right. Lots of you saying, thank you so much. So many great projects. I'm so glad you joined us. Lori is saying, I missed last week. Can I still view it? So if you head to the Sulky Facebook page or the Sulky YouTube channel, on YouTube, we have a Sew What playlist, and you can go through and watch any Sew What you may have missed. On Facebook, you'll have to go to our videos on Facebook and you'll see all of our Sew What's there as well. So they're all stored there and you can watch at any time. YouTube might be easier to navigate to the past Sew What videos. You can also subscribe to our channel and you'll get notified when we're going live on YouTube as well. So that's a really good reminder. And you can watch all of our other great YouTube videos and tutorials, and there's just all kinds of ways to enjoy Sulky education. Am I right? Okay, so join next week for leggings. Be sure to grab up your kit. Don't forget to take advantage of our great 1040 EZ sale. We have so many items that are at such a great price, so you can really fill up your cart for a great deal. All right, well, thank you everybody for joining me today. Can't wait to see all of your porch pillows. Be sure to join our Sulky Facebook group as well. It's called Sulky Stitch and Post. I recognize a lot of your names from there as well. That's where we post pictures of our projects and, ask each other questions when we're going through projects and It's just a great place for, sewing community and, to post things that you've created. And we love seeing your takes on the projects that we bring to you. So, all right, have fun creating your pillows. Have fun finishing those taxes and enjoying all of the Sulky 1040 Easy sale items. And I'll see you next week for another So What, followed by our favorite leggings video cast at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. So have a great rest of your day, everyone. And I will see you next week for another So What.